Hi everyone, welcome to The Fight with Teddy Atlas. I'm Teddy Atlas III. Today's episode is presented by Fiofo, and I am joined by my main man, boxing legend, Hall of Famer, Teddy Atlas. How you doing, bud?
I'm okay. I'm with you. I'm good. I'm with Richie. I'm good. I'm with Ben. I'm good. We got a nice team. I'm with all these the audience out there that are good people. Some of them are knuckleheads, but they sprinkle in and out. That's life as it is. If you walk down the street, there's gonna be leaves falling and floating around and flying by, and there's gonna be maybe some flowers and some beautiful stuff, and then there's gonna be every once in a while a little litter. You got to deal with the litter. You pick it up, you put it where you got to put it. Yeah. I hope this is not the way to seg into that, but I hope everyone had a good Valentine's Day. That's Teddy Atlas's way of saying I hope you had a good Valentine's Day. All the moms, all the women out there, and the guys too, all the people out there. I hope that you had a nice day with whoever your Valentine is, and I'm stinking up the joint. I guess that's what I was getting at. I'm stinking. I like to be straightforward. I think I'm on a bad streak of about 4 in a row. At one point we were doing real well, and this is food for the haters, because the haters will come out and say whatever, and that's fine when you're out there in the Big Apple and you put yourself out there and you take risk. And what's life without risk? What is life without risk? I mean, it's not life. It's existence. I don't want existence. I want to try to live. So we started this ropes thing some months ago. My son wanted to start it. He thought that, well, he didn't think there was a call for it. There was a call with the people out there to do this. And it wasn't just about gambling. That's the thing that I have to wrap my head around to get out of the dark, to not feel too bad about it, because I feel like I'm letting people down. I'm on a little bit of a losing streak now after we started off pretty freaking good, but it could never keep up. But we started this. My son reminded me. He's smarter than me. He went to college. I didn't go to college, but that's not why he's smart. He's smart because he's got common sense and he looks at things, the whole picture. And he said, Dad, we didn't do this just for the gambling. Or the people out there that are going to be upset about the gambling, what are you going to do? You can't control that. But we did it for all the other things, the Q&As, the virtual training, the live streaming, just a list of things that if you're a ropes member, obviously you can make yourself available to. And we don't hold it just to the ropes member. I mean, we do it on the podcast. Whenever I can put out there any kind of life lesson or any kind of advice in everyone's greatest fight, which is the fight of life, right? I mean, that's the biggest fight there is. We're fighting that every day. I'm going to do that. It doesn't have to be just for the ropes, but the ropes was an idea conjured up by my son. And again, well, a lot of people asking for specific things. It was a community. It is a community base. I think it's a good thing. It's obviously also a thing that helps us pay bills. But you know what? We got a team. We got the best team in the world. But it's a team. And there are bills to this. There actually are costs to this. And at some point, if you're not able to make it make sense, you can't continue doing it. I mean, and those are things that we have to deal with, that we have to think about. Does it make sense to continue doing it? And the answer is always out there with you, as long as you say it makes sense, that you come to the podcast, you come to the ropes, but that you tell us by coming that, hey, it makes sense. And it's not just about the gambling part. And look, if we continue doing the gambling part, that is part of it. And look, it's part of the culture. It's out there. Every time you turn on ESPN or any sports channel, you're going to see a line on a freaking game. I mean, there's no getting around it. So it was kind of hard to ignore that. But I said, even when we were winning, I said, Bud, and I said to the people in the ropes, I said, I know it's not going to keep up. There's going to be some bad days. And I feel bad. I feel I'll let you down. And that's how I feel now. Like I let people down. But at the same time, I would always say, even when we were winning, and we'll win again, but I would always say, don't bet. You don't have to bet. There's no pressure to bet. If you bet responsibly. But you don't have to bet. Just listen to the information I give. Read the reports. They're pretty good. They are. That's one thing I'll stand behind. Listen to the information and let watching be more enjoyable, because maybe you've been made aware of some things you weren't made aware behind the curtain, behind the scenes a little bit. But you don't have to bet. At the end of the day, I've been stinking up the joint with the picks. I said that before. And we got another one wrong. We got the heavyweights wrong last night. It was the show wasn't a great show. It was a lot of knockouts. It wasn't great. We'll go into that. Zuffa Boxing Sunday. There's a good thing about Zuffa Boxing on Sunday. Football's gone. People want to have some kind of sport on Sunday. It's a good fit. I hope it's successful. I hope it continues down the road. They definitely have the backing, the capital to make it successful. But then it's the same thing as what we do. The fans have to tell you whether or not it's successful. They have to tell you whether or not they believe in it. And again. For the haters out there that right now they're, unfortunately they might be happy that I know there was one somebody sent me, and so I saw it, and I don't mind. Nobody likes haters, but that's your choice of how you want to behave in life and how you want to act. If that makes you feel better. If that's what makes you feel better, hey, have at it. But I don't like when people not only if they get nasty, but I don't like when hiding away, they go and they do it and they change it, they lie. You want to hate, but try not to hate and lie. And you know what? I'm probably asking a lot. Because if you don't have the character to not hate, to be better than that, then you don't have the character to not lie. And I remember there was one, and that's the last thing I'll address with this, where it said, even when he was winning, he was picking the huge favorites. No, I wasn't. Actually, that was what we concentrated on. Yeah. There are favorites. Like last night, there was a favorite. It was minus 1,500. No, we're not picking them. We were picking the props to make sure that you didn't have to lay an exorbitant amount of money for a bet, and you didn't have to go with the exorbitant favorite, with the ridiculously huge odds favorite. So we would pick the under or over. We would pick whether or not it was going to be a knockout or a knockout. And with that, we were doing good, not by picking a fact. So I just want to clear that up. You're going to be a hater. Try not to be a liar and a hater. That's a bad daily double. I wouldn't bet on that daily double. That's not a good one. At the end of the day, I'll put it over to my son to go over the Zuffa Boxing. We got some previews coming up, and I'll leave with this. I can throw shade at myself. I'm able to do that. I'm capable of doing that. So for now, one of our sponsors, which is really great stuff, for now, I have to get the memo. I have to fit in or fake off with the betting. Me, Teddy, yeah. And I'm going to take that to heart. I'm going to do some thinking on that.
I don't disagree with you too often, but I do disagree with your take just now. There's nothing to apologize for. When you're a trainer of 18 world champions in an International Boxing Hall of Fame, that comes with the turf. You're going to get attention. You're going to get some hate. I don't have the credentials of you and the accomplishments in my career as you do, but that's why I don't have as much haters, and I want some more haters. It's flattery. It's a compliment.
I don't want no one to hate my son. Hate me. Don't hate
No,
my son.
it's okay because they're watching and they're paying attention, and that's all that matters in the end. You are very honest, and that's why I love you so much. You were at 90% your record. Nobody's gonna stay at 90%. You were 25-3 the first few months. Of course, there's gonna be some losses. It's called gambling. Of course, you can't stay at 90%, but you're still above 70% even with this cold streak. So I just wanted to add that in. You don't need defense ever, but you're doing an unbelievable job. The picks are great. The ropes members love them, and as you said, it's so much more than gambling, and that's the way it was designed. We had an amazing Q&A this weekend with members from the ropes. We talked about mental health. We talked about challenges in life, facing pressures, confidence. We're trying to help people in those ways. You give out boxing tips and instructionals. You give your private commentary to fights. There's a lot that the people over at the ropes are excited about, and it's not just the picks. So I just wanted to add that in, bud, before we get into today's show.
Yeah, I appreciate it, bud. I appreciate you. I love you. And I appreciate all the people out there, the good people out there that are with us and tell us to do this. Again, they're the ones telling us keep doing it. If when it doesn't make sense to do it, guess what? You have a black screen here. you won't see that pretty face. You won't see this one that's not as pretty, but you won't see that beautiful face anymore. And we're gonna have to, fit in or let's go, baby.
Let's go. All right, let's do it, bud. Let's get into the recaps from this past weekend. Sunday, as you said, Sunday night, Zuffa Boxing. We're going to start off with the co-main event. In that fight, we had Umar Dzambekov versus Ahmed Elbiali. And before we get into the recap of this fight, bud, we gave a lot of credit and praise to Zuffa for last week's show, which was Zuffa Boxing 2. We thought it was a very competitive card, evenly matched fights, good fights. This week, I did not feel that way, and I'm talking about the meat of the show. I'm talking about the co-main event and the main event. And to me, it felt like more of a top-ranked show of years past. It was like going, as you say, to a movie and already knowing the ending. And the reason why I say that, starting with this fight, Umar has been on a roll, winning most of his fights by knockout. He has been very active, and he fights against Ahmed Elbiali. Elbiali hasn't fought in almost 2 years of the ring activity. He enters as a 14-1 underdog, Elbiali. And I just felt like we knew where this was going. It was there to showcase Umar. And in the end, that's exactly what happened. It was a second-round knockout, a devastating knockout, where the leg was twitching of Elbiali. A scary moment there. But I just was a little disappointed with the matchmaking in this one. I know a lot of the fans out there are going to love the knockout, and that's what they're going to talk about. But I want to hear your take on what you thought of this fight and touching on the card as we lead into then the main event for the card.
I hear what you're saying, bud. I do. I want to give him more time, but I wasn't crazy about for a couple of reasons. Well, first of all, you had good records, so people get brought in by the records. They do. You had a nice records, but records don't fight. People fight. I was one of the first and definitely one of the most consistent at saying years ago. And a lot of the things I said years ago, I hear them saying now, but on a regular basis. But I would always say that it's not about the record. It's about who they fought. And so the records can be very deceiving, and they are deceiving at times. And it was a little deceiving last night. I guess that's fair to say, because Ahmed had a shiny record, and shiny things attract. They do. They attract fish. You put a lure out there in the water, and it's shiny, and whoop, a fish gonna come bite. You put something shiny out there with a record, and whoop, fans are gonna bite. And but how long are they going to bite? See, I think that's the question you're asking, bud. How long are they going to bite? After a while, they're going to ignore that shiny lure because they saw one of their pals, the bass up the street, get pulled in on a line, and then next time they go past that shiny little lure, they're going to say, I ain't going for it. I ain't going for that bright reflection. It's a trick. So, are we heading to? It's too early. But we're going to always tell the truth. And I hope that's why people come here, or part of why they come here. I hope it's for a breath of fresh air sometimes. People say that. I don't want to give us credit in that way, but I do want to aspire to be that kind of people. And I always have to try to, if there's somebody else there just throwing a bunch of smoke, I want to see if I can provide a little bit of real fire. Not just the smoke. If we could get past the smoke and get to real stuff and point out when it's real, when it's not real, at least in our opinion. So that was that show last night. People love KOs. So a lot of people will probably be satisfied, because they got KOs. But at the end of the day, are you looking for steak or are you looking for sizzle? You got sizzle, but how much steak did you get? You got something thrown, but did you leave the restaurant hungry? Did you leave the restaurant with your stomach saying, hey, I didn't really get anything. I went into a restaurant thinking I was going to get this. Because that's kind of a good analogy. Yeah, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get a little surf and turf, a little lobster, a little steak, a little filet mignon. And I don't feel like I got that. And I think that's fair. I think my son's fair in bringing up that point. But I said what I said at the beginning. Give it time. Let's give this joint, let's give this new restaurant on the block, and it is a new restaurant, let's give it a little time. Let's see what they do next week, and then next week. Let's see what they give us. Let's see what's on the menu. So that's how I'll leave that. But, yeah, people love knockouts. But, again, where's the steak? That knockout reminded me, we're going to put up something here with the great Ben. Bennett will get it up there with his editing magic that he does out west where he lives. But we put up a nice tweet last night just about the knockout, showing the knockout. And look, thank God he's okay. Thank God Ahmed Elbiali is okay. But he was laying there with his left foot twitching. And I think it's fair to say this, too. And I'm not looking to knock the commentator, but you don't have to go too nuts. When a guy's foot is twitching, I think we know what happened. He got knocked out. Yeah, you don't have to. All right! Hey, you! Hey, the British are coming. The British are coming. No, you don't. He's the knockout. His foot's twitching. His foot's twitching. I think we get it. I think we're good. So anyway, we put up a tweet that showed that. It got a lot of hits, a lot of people responding to it, a lot of people looking at it. We're going to put up something here. What I was thinking was that knockout, the devastation of it, and with the foot twitching, was reminiscent to me of Ingemar Johansson's left foot twitching when he got knocked out by Floyd Patterson in a heavyweight rematch. Floyd Patterson had lost his title to Ingemar. He got knocked out. And then in the rematch, Floyd became the first heavyweight in the history of boxing at the time to regain the heavyweight title after losing it. And he did it in sensational fashion with a leaping left hook that landed. And Ingemar, again, he was laying there with his foot twitching. Very, very reminiscent of Ahmed and obviously that position last night. So that's where it took me. Now, as far as the punch, he moved a little bit. My son brought this up, actually. We were talking about doing a tip for the a tip for the ropes community after this. We do a tip of the week. And he was talking about, he said, Dad, you know how you always talk about the lead hand? In this case, some Dzambekov. I don't want to mispronounce it. Umar, there it is. That's why he went to college. Send your kid to college. Because he will tell you little smart things like that. So, you know, you went to college, right? Good, thank God. All right, so Umar scored the knockout with the lead hand. He's a southpaw. And I always talk, my son was reminding me, Dad, you always talked about educated lead hand, whether it's the orthodox orthodox lead left hand, the jabbing hand, or the southpaw in this case of Umar, the lead right hand, that it should be educated more than just a jab. Let us speak a couple languages, more than English. Let us speak a couple languages. Let it jab, let it uppercut, let it hook. You know, let it do different things. Well, you saw an example of an educated right hand where he's moving around. He used his legs to set up offense. His legs were being used for two things: defense, to keep Ahmed off balance, not set to punch, but at the same time setting up offense. He's moving, and then bang, bang, out of the sky, out of the dark, a lead right uppercut. Beautiful. He never saw it. That's why it had that result. Ahmed never saw the punch coming. And it was a snappy shot. It was beautiful. But it was set up with the legs. Nobody mentioned that. But for me, he's moving. And all of a sudden, he suddenly stopped. Bang! He walked him into it. He didn't give Ahmed a chance to see it coming, to understand that it might come that suddenly. It was terrific. It was nice. Next, bud.
Yeah, that was an unbelievable knockout. That has to be, I would say, right up there for the frontrunner 2026 knockout of the year, second round KO. We will go to the next one. The next one was the main event. And in the main event, we had the heavyweights. We had Efe Ajagba versus Charles Martin. Now, Ajagba entered this fight as a massive favorite. He was 5-0-1 in his last 6 fights coming into this one, including his most recent fight, a draw versus Martin Bakole. Martin hadn't fought in quite some time. Almost 2 years of ring activity and 39 years of age. And going into this fight, it just did not, to me personally, seem like Martin deserved to be in there. He didn't have the credentials. And I felt like Ajagba did what I expected him to do. 4th round KO, he gets the win, he moves on. But again, I just felt like I've saw this movie before. I felt like whether it was Friday night fights, whether there's some pro box fights, I've seen this before. But the difference is, and you led up to it earlier, of honesty. When there was going to be mismatches or there was going to be fights that happened to turn out this way, you would let the viewers know that. It was over the top. I thought I was watching maybe the next greatest heavyweight ever in Ajagba. Anyway, I just want to hear your thoughts on what you thought of the matchup and then obviously the result in this fight.
All right, as far as Martin not deserving this fight, there's been a lot of fighters out there that probably, if you go back, they might not deserve it. It's hard to have a barometer for that, to measure that. But it's heavyweights, so you get away with it. When one thing they could sell, you can sell heavyweights. You know, there's certain things, bud, out there that are just easier to sell than other things. You know, and heavyweights, despite 39, you're right, you're not wrong. Inactivity, everything else, but it's heavyweights, so they can sell it. They even sell it with a little sales pitch of, hey, he had a title. Because, he did have a title, technically. When he had that title, Martin, obviously he won that by default, you might say, because the opponent's knee collapsed and he tore the ACL and he couldn't continue. So he won it on technicality, on the guy being injured during the fight, but he had a title. So in that way, they were able to sell it with all those different things. Like I said, there's just certain things out there that it's easier to sell. Heavyweights, you're going to sell it. People want to see heavyweights. They want to see action. As far as Ajagba, yeah, he's a guy who's obviously got a hell of a record. He's a guy who is still one of the guys there, but his name has not really been mentioned in the heavyweight mix recently. I know it was only 7 months ago he fought a draw with Bacall, and Bacall, a big puncher, of course, and he knocked out the, at that time, undefeated Jared Anderson, who was one of Top Rank's prospects. But you haven't been hearing about Ajagba lately. So they kind of put this fight forward as heavyweights crossroad. Like one's going to go away and one's going to move up the road. So they sold it off that way. And I get it. I understand that. As it turned out to be what you said. A fight that if you thought about it a little bit, you probably should have figured out that Ajagba was going to win this fight. And win it by knockout. He did. And he used the southpaw killer. He used the right hand against Martin. At the end of the day, for the future of Ajagba, I think that's where you got to go with this. Where does it? Because that's why they did this. Zuffa Boxing, they're going to say, okay, now we have Ajagba there. He's going to be in the mix now, in a serious mix. He's going to be one of the guys that you're going to go down the road with the heavyweight division to see where he fits in. And he'll fit in with somebody. He'll get a shot with one of those names now. Moving down the future, one of the things that I was a little, from a trainer's point of view, a little taken back by, or a little maybe concerned down the road, how much weight he put on. When I used to watch him fight on Top Rank, he was just slimmer. I'm not saying he's fat, he's not, but he's got the height. He's 6'6". He's got the height to put weight on, but he was a little more athletic, a more slimmer, a little more wiry. He was a different kind of body, a different kind of looking athlete. And now all of a sudden, I forget how much weight, you probably have it there, but how much weight he put on from his previous fights. But all of a sudden, he was, he looked significantly better. I don't know if that's going to bode well for him down the road with the other heavyweights in the mix now that he's going to be involved with. It didn't bother him with Martin, obviously, but how will it bode for him down the road? We'll find out. We'll see. But he's now one of those guys in the mix, and Zuffa has planted their flag in the heavyweight division. I think that's what this was about, more than anything else. Weeding out two of those heavyweights, getting one, and being able to walk forward with Zuffa flag that, hey, we got a guy in the heavyweight race, the heavyweight business. That makes sense to you?
Yeah, but not with Martin. If you want to go that way and you want to do the pretender versus the contender and eliminate somebody in a crossroads match, give me something different. Give me Hrgovic. Let me see Hrgovic versus Ajagba. Let me see Jared Anderson, who you just talked about. Is he going to be a real contender and a prospect, or is it Ajagba? But to give me Charles Martin at 39 years of age, who has not fought in over a year and a half, and when he did fight Bud, it was a one-round fight. So he didn't get any rounds in. So now go back to 2023 is his last fight where he went rounds, and he fell short to who? Jared Anderson. Give me that fight. Don't give me this one. But I've said enough. I was not a fan of the co-main event and the main event because of the mismatches, because of the over-the-top. But the other thing I want to ask you, with Zuffa, you said it, football is over right now, football season. So they did it on a Sunday. I'm just curious, is it always going to be that late on Sundays, or was that because Monday was a holiday, but 11 Eastern start on a Sunday on the East Coast?
Yeah, well, it would have been really even later. I think we got out of there by 11, whatever. It would have been later, to your point, if it wasn't for those quick knockouts. That's tough. People getting ready to go to work the next day, right? But then again, let's be fair. During the football season, you had football game on Sunday night late, and ratings were pretty good, but it's football, it's not boxing. So, let's take that into account. But yeah, there is sports on Sunday night with the football that has done very well. So they're probably saying, hey, we're gonna fit into a slot now. We're gonna fill a void. football's gone, we're going to fill a void. I understand the thinking. We'll see. We'll find out. The one thing I want to say to your point about that it should have been Herbovich or, one of those guys. You could throw a few names. And I don't disagree with you. What I got to say is that now you're getting into, it can't be those guys because the promoters ain't going to put them on Zuffa Boxing. So you're dealing with just, you're in a store. It's the Zuffa Boxing store, by the way. It's cool. And, I don't know if my son loves the uniforms and all, but they're branding it. It's a brand. They're owning the brand. They're making you wear the robe in there, the whole thing. That's what's going on. And, okay, again, I'm going to give it time. But you don't forget, you have to have promotional contracts with these fighters. And they want to only use guys they have contracts with. I mean, you don't have to. We didn't have it when we had Friday night fights. We used everyone. We gave everyone work as long as their promoter would put them on the show. There's a lot of unemployment out there in boxing, by the way. So Friday night fights was a natural. Hey, you need a fight? Yes, I do. Okay, you need a yes, I do. Okay, let's get together Friday night and we'll put a fight and we'll put a good match on. But now in here, and what's going on is those heavyweights my son just mentioned, which would have been a better match, no doubt about it. They're with different guys, with different promoters. You know all the promoters, right? It's Frank Warren, it's Eddie Hearn, it's De La Hoya, it's whoever I'm missing. But
Al Heyman, PBC.
PBC, all that stuff. So those guys ain't going on Zuffa Boxing, by the way, right? They got their own thing. So that's where the problem will be, as far as putting some of those matches that my son just mentioned, but that you people out there might want to see and might in your mind think is coming. But those kind of matches are limited to the legalities, the promotional commitments in his business. And I think it was important I brought that up.
Absolutely was, and it's a great point, and it makes it harder for the fans. If you're a fan of Ajagba right now, how do you look forward to his next fights where there's so much uncertainty of who can he dance with? But as you said, time will tell. We do have to give it more time. Just giving my take from Zuffa 3. And the last thing I'll say with this, I'd like to see a rotation.
Denzel Washington when you need him. Time. I wish I had time.
The last thing I'll say, though, Bud, is I want to see a rotation added in. I like to see different venues for these live events. The Apex Center is becoming sterile. It just doesn't have that crowd electricity. And when we talked about earlier Friday night fights, I thought that's what added to some of these fights sometimes. These historic locations, the Blue Horizon in Philadelphia, right? How about in Hampton Beach, Mickey Ward and Manuel Burton? That adds to great fights, the atmosphere, the electricity, the crowd. Right now, we're missing that, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I can't argue with that. That was one of the things about Friday night fights, that we were going to take it on the road. We did for 18 years. We're going to take it on the road, go to these different venues all over the country, interesting venues where real people with an interest, with a backing, rooting, interest, fight fans, passionate, would be there because they love boxing. Or they loved the fighter who's fighting. And it would be there and would be in that kind of atmosphere where you would feel it. It would come across the microphone. It would come across the TV set. It would add to what was going on in the ring. Yeah. And we purposely stayed away from casinos because they had a sterile feel to them, a vacuum. Like hello. You didn't want to be fighting in a place like that where you're hello. No, you want to be fighting in a place where you couldn't even say hello because the people were like, yeah, all right, get him. And that's a good point, Bud. I mean, they don't have that atmosphere. You saw groups of people. You saw some of their fans and some of their family that were rooting. The cameras showed that. They did their job. They showed that, but it wasn't combustible. It wasn't. It didn't flow throughout the arena because it's not built up. It's not configured that way, and They're not going to those kind of places. And that is not one of the elements that you're going to get right now, at least.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well said. And we'll be tracking more. They have plenty more fights coming up. Obviously, Zuffa, they're not going anywhere. And one of those fights coming up is going to be the Cruiserweight champion, or one of the Cruiserweight champions, because Gilberto Ramirez is also a Cruiserweight champion, but that's Ja Opataya. So we'll be back. We'll see the progress. We'll give our thoughts and continue to do that with Zuffa moving forward. For us moving forward, bud, before we get into these previews, I want to take a quick pause and thank today's sponsor, Athletic Greens. Athletic Greens, the all-in-one daily drink to support better health and peak performance. These guys spent 10 plus years with top nutritionists and doctors to create this formula. It's made from 75 whole food sourced ingredients. It has vitamins, minerals, prebiotics, probiotics, and antioxidants. This is like an insurance policy for your body's health. Athletic Greens is giving our listeners 3 travel packs for free and a free welcome kit including vitamin D3 and K2 and AG1 travel packs when you first subscribe. So whether you're looking to boost your energy levels, support your immune system, or address gut health, Athletic Greens is the way to go. Simply visit athleticgreens.com/atlas. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/atlas. AG1, always with Teddy. Always with us. And with that being said, bud, let's get right down to this main event. And we're going to preview a couple of fights on the card there. It's going to be in Las Vegas. But the main event, Ryan Garcia versus Mario Barrios. Barrios coming off of the draw versus Manny Pacquiao. Kept his title. He's putting his WBC welterweight title on the line versus Ryan Garcia. Garcia enters this fight as a 2.5 to 1 favorite. Barrios has Joe Goosen in his corner now, so Garcia will be facing his former trainer. Just want to hear your thoughts. Does that play in any way in this fight, and your preview prediction for this one?
Yeah, I mean, Goosen was his trainer for 2 fights, right? 2 fights. I mean, it wasn't for a long period of time. So I don't know that he's got any secrets to give out there that we don't already know about. So I don't know if it gives any advantage from a technical, real, tangible standpoint. I don't think so. Everyone knows both these fighters and what they do, what they're capable of, what they're not capable, what their strengths and weaknesses are. I think Barrios, he's too experienced. He knows what he knows, and he's going to go and be prepared, whether or not he's got that fighter's trainer in his corner or not. So I don't know if it, and from a psychological standpoint, I don't think it really bears any weight. Not in this. Like I said, he wasn't with him that long. So I don't think so. I think what this comes down to is what it always comes down now with Ryan Garcia. Psychologically, where is he? Mentally, where is he? Which Ryan Garcia is going to show up? Does he even know? I think that's what it comes down to. I always say, I've said it for years, 75% of this business is mental. With Ryan Garcia, it might be 95%. I mean, he's not used up physically. He's still young. He's fine physically. He's got the speed advantage. He's got the power advantage. He's more quick twitch. He's more explosive. He's the more explosive fighter here. He's got that real good kind of left hook. He throws it to the head or the body. He's a talented, athletic fighter who is not consistent. He's not consistent because mentally, you don't know where he's at in the last couple of years of his life, in his boxing life. We just don't know where he's at. And it's all about that. If you think he's in the right place, then I think at this point in Barrios' career, Garcia being younger, Garcia being, as I said, just faster with his hands, a little more explosive, obviously, I think that you favor Garcia the way the bookmakers are. But again, the X factor here, the big if, and it's a big if, it's the elephant in the room. Is he okay mentally? Where is he at? You got to Hey, it's gambling. You got to take a gamble. You got to guess. Is he right mentally? I think that the best I can say as a forecast and a guess for that, Bud, would be it's been quiet on the Western Front. If it's quiet on the Western Front with Garcia, that's good news. That's if there's no noise, then maybe things, maybe things are good. Where mentally he's in a good place. And if I'm gonna go with that, I'm gonna say I favor Garcia. Barrios, where you gotta favor Barrios is this. You know what you're gonna get. Garcia, because of what I just brought up, you don't know for sure what you're gonna get. You know what you hope to get. You know what you used to get. You know what you've gotten at times. But you don't know for sure what you're going to get. Barrios, consistent, steady guy, going to throw punches. His punch number is always going to be good. He's got that long jab. He's going to use that jab. He's technically sound. He's going to use that jab, to set everything up. He can fight on the outside. He likes to be aggressive. At some point, he'll try to come in behind that jab. He likes to go to the body. He can fight inside or outside, as I just mentioned. You got a experienced former champion in different weight classes that will show up to give his all, 100%. He'll leave it in the ring, and you know what he brings. A full effort. He's going to give everything he's got. Garcia, again, is he going to be the confident kid with all that talent? Or is he going to be the guy that you saw in his last fight where he didn't look like he wanted to be in the ring. He didn't fight with any passion, with any confidence at all. He got dropped early. That didn't do him any favors. That sure as heck didn't help him get himself together. I think that Barrios sometimes will start a little slow. That might be good because it might give Garcia a chance to get his sea legs, get his legs under him, and gain a little confidence. Get himself together those first couple rounds. Get a rhythm going. Get it. Get to the place that he needs to be the boss, to be the Ryan Garcia who can use the jab, set up the counter hook. Put punches together with real quick speed. I don't know what you're going to get with Garcia. That's the question. But I don't know any other way to go with analyzing this fight than that. At the end of the day, I'll guess that Garcia will be together. Barrios is getting older. His last fight with, talk about people getting older, the legend, the iconic legend, Manny Pacquiao, he didn't look great. He didn't look great in that fight. Some people thought he lost the fight. I'm not saying I thought that, but it was a close fight. And just being that it was a close fight with a fight of the age and inactivity of Manny Pacquiao, even though they forget about the legend, the great fighter, how this guy's a special guy. He's just not just another older guy. He's just not another older guy who hasn't been active. It's Manny Pacquiao. But still, people didn't expect it to be that close. It was. And they're going to take that, and maybe rightfully so, as Barrios starting to definitely get, get a little long in the tooth, as they say. And a young Ryan Garcia could do something with that. That's my breakdown.
Great breakdown. And the points you make, Ryan Garcia, are all fair. I feel the same way. I'm curious to see which Ryan Garcia is going to show up. They do have a common opponent, and that was Tank Davis. They both lost to Tank by knockout. What makes this fight a little more extra interesting to me, Bud, is that Garcia has not had his hand raised in victory since 12/2/2023 versus Oscar Duarte. And Barrios, back-to-back draws. He has not had his hand raised in victory since 5/4/2024. It's a world title fight, and it's been a long time since either one of these guys have won a fight. I'm really intrigued by this matchup. I think that was a great breakdown. And for everybody who wants to watch us, the live stream will be here at the fight here on YouTube. Teddy will be doing a live stream fight companion, so come join us next week. We'll be live for the main event. And also at the ropes, we have this fight pick full report as well as many more for this card over at the ropes. So with that being said, bud, we'll touch on a few more of those previews on that card. Moving on from this main event, we go to the co-main event. In the co-main event, another title fight. This is going to be Antuanne Russell, the younger brother of Gary Russell, and the Russell brothers, putting his title on the line at 140 pounds versus Andy Hiraoka. Now, a lot of people are not familiar with Hiraoka from Japan, but 24-0, 19 knockouts. He's been a little inactive, but what can we expect heading into this one?
Well, he's stepping up in class more so than Russell, because Russell, listen, you can't sleep on anybody who's undefeated and who can punch and who's tall and who's a southpaw. You got two southpaws here going against each other, but Russell has been in with the better level of opposition. So that says something. Hiraoka has not been in that really top level, I don't think, like Russell has. So you can give an edge to Russell in that way. Russell's a complete fighter. He likes to be aggressive. He likes to fight in spurts, go to the body, be explosive in spurts. But he'll box, he'll set traps. I mean, he's technically the father of the Russell brothers did a good job in making sure that all his sons, had good foundations of the sweet science. He did a good job. God bless him. He's not with us anymore, but his sons are because of him, and they're successful because of him. This is an interesting fight. Andy Hiraoka's a tall southpaw who can punch, and he might be a one-trick pony, where he'll step back, set a trap, being tall, he'll step back, get the shorter man, which is Russell in this case, obviously. Most people are shorter than Hiraoka, but get him to come in, maybe a little reckless, and then catch him with the right hook, the southpaw hook, the lead right hand of the southpaw with that counter hook. That's his trick. That's his main. He can do other things. I mean, he's got good hand speed. He's technically pretty solid, but I think you can catch him going back. When he goes back, I always talk about a guy who fights tall. If he knows how to fight tall, it's a big asset. But where it's not an asset is when the shorter man gets close and you're standing tall, and maybe you're backing up in a defensive mode, in a vulnerable way, and you can get caught because you're tall. There's a big target to hit. I see that with Hiraoka. The question is, does Russell and his brothers, they train him, one of his brothers train him, it's a family affair, but do they see what I see? That Hiraoka, when he goes back, if you go back with him right, you can catch him. He could be vulnerable. And I think that's where Russell can make some hay, as the farmers might say. I'm not a farmer, but I heard it. Make a little hay. Got to make a little hay when the sun's shining. And the sun is shining when he goes straight back, where if you go with him, you can catch him. Now, there's a danger spot to that. You got to do it right. If you go with him and not with the right timing, he'll catch you. That's what makes this fight interesting to me, is that can Russell deal with that one trick where he goes back, bang, he's going to go back, bang, he's going to look to catch him with that right hook, or is Russell going to catch him going back? I'm going to go with Russell. I think he's a little more complete as a fighter, and he's been in deeper waters than Hiraoka has been in. So I'm going to go with that. That good enough for you, bud?
No, that's great. Russell enters as minus 350 favorite, and Hiraoka has not fought since 9/3/2024. So there's some ring rust there to be concerned about if you're backing Hiraoka. I look forward to this one. Again, over at the ropes, full picks, props, you name it. And we're going to be, again, covering this fight here at YouTube with the fight companion, with the main card being the one we just covered, Ryan Garcia and Mario Barrios. So I loved it, bud. Let's stick with the 140-pounders, and let's wrap up today's show with one final preview. Another title fight, like I said, at 140. And this is a fighter that you're extremely familiar with, a fighter that boxed at a gym, Atlas Cops and Kids, that your foundation subsidized for many years since he was a young boy. He's now a world champion. He's making his second title defense of that 140-pound belt. And that's Richardson Hitchins from Brooklyn, putting his title on the line versus Oscar Duarte. Very interesting matchup. Hitchins enters this fight at over 5-1 favorite. Duarte, extremely big guy for the 140-pound division with some good power. We've seen him fall short versus Ryan Garcia, but he's been back in the win column as of late. He's got Robert Garcia in his corner. Just want to hear your thoughts. What can we expect with this one?
I think it helps Duarte. This is a case the trainer helps. I think Robert Garcia, that trainer, that ilk of trainer, that level of trainer, I think it helps Duarte. Psychologically, technically, every way. Having that guy with him. I'll get right to it. Hitchins goes as his jab goes. For Hitchins, young kid, he's coming to his own now. I think he's still a work in progress. I think he's still getting better. And he showed that in his last fight. He never showed he was a big puncher, a go-get-you guy. But in his last fight, he put punches together. He became a finisher. He showed the ability to be a finisher, to land clean, accurate punches that could do damage, that did do damage. And he put them together, and he closed the show.
Versus Kambosos.
Yeah, he's got the ability to do that now with the confidence of winning the title. Titles make you 30% better. I was the guy who said that years ago. I'm not trying to take credit. No. A lot of people say it now in the UFC and in boxing. But, because Cuz told me that years ago. The old timers always said, Teddy, you win a title, you get 30% better. And I've seen it. I've lived it. So Hitchins is still growing. And he'll show that growth probably in this fight more. And he'll need to. Hitchins is all about the jab, as I said, and control and range. Two things. Jab and control range, where it's his fight, where you got to fight his fight, or you got to take him out of his fight, where he's going to keep you at the end of his jab. That means after that, he sets the table, he's going to hit you with other stuff. If you allow him to set the table, bang, bang, you're going to get hit with other stuff off that. If you reach in or you get over anxious, overzealous, he's going to hit you with counters, uppercut, counter hook, whatever it is. So range and the jab, that's Hitchins. You got to deal with that. How do you deal with that? Well, Duarte's going to have to use his own jab. It won't be as good as Hitchins. It don't have to be. Just enough to nullify it a little bit, enough to keep him honest, enough to not let him dominate you with that jab. You don't want to get dominated with that jab. And you got to close the gap safely without getting beat up, without getting mugged on the way going through that neighborhood, as I like to say. You got to do that. How do you do that? Well, you got to use the jab. You got to move your head. You got to bring your feet. You might want to use feints. Feint him. Get Hitchins to show what he's doing. Get him to move his feet too soon. And then you're not reaching. Then you step to the right place, and then you work your way in. So Duarte's going to have to do that. And one thing that Duarte brings, I talked about what Hitchins brings, the jab, control, and range with his feet. Very good. Very good. Duarte's a pretty good body puncher. He's going to have to bring that. He's going to have to close the gap safely, and he's going to have to find a way to go to the body and find a way to make it an inside fight. Not that Hitchins can't fight inside. He can. He throws short, compact punches inside. He knows what he's doing, but he prefers the outside. So you got to get to the place he doesn't prefer. You got to get to the place you prefer if you're Duarte, in the kitchen. And you got to cook up a storm. You got to cook up a winning meal. And if you're going to cook up a winning meal with an undefeated champion who's getting better, you have to do it in this case by going to the body and staying there. That's it. At the end of the day, I like Hitchins. I think he is still a work in progress. I think he is still getting better. I do think Duarte has a chance to make it interesting because all the things I just laid out, and because he's got Robert Garcia, who I have a lot of admiration for, a lot of respect for. He's got him in his corner. At the end of the day, I'm going with Hitchins.
No, I loved it. That was an excellent breakdown. You painted a beautiful picture You talked about closing the gap. For me, listening to you, it's can Duarte cut off the ring? But I think stylistically, this is a great matchup. Should be an entertaining fight. You got the boxer versus the pressure fighter. And I really look forward to this one. I thought it was a great breakdown.
Well, thank you, bud.
Yeah, and again, I just want to say,
at least somebody
out
there loves me. What's that song? I want to get that song. Can we get that song to play?
Probably not due to copyrights. Whatever song you're thinking of. All We Need Is Love? What are you thinking of?
That's one. Everybody needs somebody to love them. No, it was Dean Martin. I'm going back.
You're still in the Valentine's Day mood over there, huh?
I am, a little bit. Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, that era, great music. Not that you don't have great music today, but these guys were great. And somebody loves somebody. Everybody needs somebody to love them. Something like that. It was a nice song. See if you can get it. Rich, work on that, please. Thank you.
We will be copyrighted if we do play that song, especially if it comes from a catalog of the Beatles or somebody like that. But no, we will see what we could do. But if not, your singing will have to do in the meantime. Maybe next week you'll come with another one. I just want to finish up and say this. We covered a lot of previews for next week. And again, those picks are all available at The Ropes. Full type-out breakdowns by Teddy. All his analysis, props, you name it. But it's not just the fights that we covered there. There's more fights, and there's more fights just for this weekend. And there's another card in the UK, and we have some picks for that card. Not just for the main event, which is a rematch in the UK between Wood and Warrington. We also have picks for the co-main event, Ishmael Davis and Bilal Fawaz. That was our Ropes members voted and wanted a little extra one. That was the fight they picked. So, again, that's at The Ropes. Come over, take a look. And with that being said, Bud, great episode. Just want to let you close it down and take us home.
Everybody needs somebody to love them. I wish I could remember the lyrics and the name of that song.
I'm not a good teammate right now. I'm showing
it's
I'm not the best musical teammate for you.
No, if I ask you something from Tupac or Jay-Z, you'd be boom, boom, boom. But Dean Martin, it's not in your wheelhouse. No, it's not. It's not. Although it should be. I shouldn't say that. You love Back to Life. That wasn't Dean Martin. That was who was that? That was the great guy that died too young. What the heck was his name? Well, he was great too. God, what the heck was his name? But anyway,
Darren?
Yeah, Bobby Darin.
Bobby Darin.
Yeah, you used to be in a car when I had all the DVDs, and one of the best ones ever, and you're never gonna get better than this, ever, was that great. And I know you used to love it, but you had no choice. You would hear it every time you got in my car, and we would drive. And it was the great Ray Charles edition of America the Beautiful. Oh, my God. It brings tears to your eyes when you hear it. What a addition to a song that was. But
no
Dean Martin was one. Anyway, I think it was everybody needs somebody to love. Anyway, we'll work on that. We'll get back to that. And I'll leave you with this. Everybody does need somebody to love them. And but we can do without the haters. Period. Where in anything out there, we do need, that's another song that's very true. What the world needs now is love, sweet loves. We could always use more of that. Less of the other stuff from all of us and more of the love. And if you don't have love, if you're not feeling it at that moment, that's okay. You can't force it. Sometimes it's not there. You don't feel it. Fine. But it's still your choice. You don't have to show hate. I think that would be what I would leave you with today.
Well, I loved it. And I love you, Bud. It's a great episode. Great job. And thank you all for being with us. As always, please like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys again next week.